What's going on, motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Naackers, and today is July 1st, 2021, and this is episode number 158. Today on the show, I'm very happy to announce that we have snagged Andrew from Deity Microphones. What's going on, dude?
Not too much. What's going on with you? How do I sound?
You sound good. You know, I had to do like a quick... Because when I run Zoom, the audio comes from my streaming PC, but when I use Discord, it goes to my gaming PC. There are small times when I'm like, Jesus Christ, dual PC is such maddening. But
it's so crazy. I've seen some people do some amazing setups, and I'm like, but how does the audio work? And they're like, with gum and shoestrings. Like, it just kind of works, and you don't look too hard at it.
If you sneeze on Voice Meter Banana, it will crumble into a million pieces.
Yep.
First question from me to you. Where do I get a Deity hat?
So we had these on the website. Oh, gosh. I think we put them up around January. I ordered 50 from a vendor, and I was like, there's North Carolina made, American hats. And I'm like, awesome. Design something, make something really cool. Ships me a box of 50. I don't think we've sold but 2 in 6 months.
Damn.
So I've got a giant box of hats that I can't even give away. So if you want a hat, I might be able to get you one.
Dude, I'll pay for it. I don't mind paying for hats. That's how much I love hats. First of all, I very much appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on the podcast and talk. It's so many questions that I have from watching you on social media, the content that you create, and then also being a consumer of said products. I purchased the Deity D3 Pro for my camera setup for when I do record TikToks and record YouTube videos. And it was my first experience with a shotgun microphone, and it's been awesome all around. It made me realize how terrible my office is with sound treatment and just how terrible it sounds in general. But it helps me learn a little bit on the EQ side as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't have experience with shotguns until they do. And when they do, they're like, oh, this is how it's supposed to sound. Like, a lot of people just use the on-camera mics that come with, or the one that's on their cell phone. And they go, well, audio is just hard, and it's hard to get good audio. And it's like, well, if you use the right tool for the job, things get a lot easier. And yeah, I mean, shotguns are awesome.
Have you found any instance where you could recommend a shotgun microphone to a streamer, or have kind of really?
Oh yeah. So for our show on YouTube, I will do a similar setup to what you're doing, where I've got an underslung kind of mic on a boom arm, and I will just swing it out and place it right there. And the reason is we're in a very untreated warehouse space where we shoot our stuff. And secondly, I've got editors editing along a wall, so they're making noise. So I've got to reject a lot of active noise coming in from offset. So I will use a shotgun microphone right there, same that you would do, but I'm using a shotgun, and because I want to pick up just me. And I will sit next to someone when I'm doing my Q&A with them, and I don't want to pick them up at all. And I also want them to have the freedom to move a little bit and rotate to me, rotate the camera, and not have to be stuck with some kind of mic that where they go off axis and all of a sudden their voice disappears. Whereas I can do a shotgun, pull it off just a little bit, and I get this nice cone of operation for my subject to live within.
Interesting. So that was going to be my first question, was if you're using the shotgun but it's good at rejecting sides. Background noise, but the off-axis rejection isn't as tight as like a broadcast dynamic microphone.
Yeah, with the dynamic, your off-axis rejection from the side, especially with a lot of good broadcast dynamics. And the reason why I say broadcast dynamics is that's also code for supercardioid dynamics, not just a SM58 kind of handheld stage mic, which is more of a cardioid pattern. If you're using something like what you're using, not only do you have off-axis rejection, you've got a distance issue. So the further you get off, it also starts to reject due to sensitivity. So you have a very small, tight bubble. And in a very untreated room by yourself where you're talking just right to one camera, that's great. On my YouTube show, we have 3 cameras, and we rotate based on what camera I'm presenting to. So I need to rotate my body, and that doesn't always put me in the optimal place for a broadcast dynamic. And also, I find that a broadcast dynamic would limit my movement. In radio, in a podcast stitch-up like this, where I am going right to one camera and I'm stuck in a chair, these are the best kinds of mics you can use, broadcast dynamics. We're more lively on our YouTube show, so we move quite a bit and rotate to each other and interact, and I'm interacting with stuff on the desk. So I need to be able to have a lot more freedom of movement. So I need to move my microphone off like 12, 18 inches, and that then opens up my frontal cone to where I can still get rejection, but I can get 18 inches away from that microphone, no problem.
Interesting. So you actually just brought up a good point, and I was picturing the set for when you record that piece of content, and I've noticed that you've been able to have your microphone at more harsh of an angle, like more off to the side, instead of being limited to that straight on or 45-degree angle, which that just now kind of clicked in my head.
I can't say much, but a good mic place could even be 90 degrees to your subject like it is right now, and I'm kind of going into my mic to show you that there is something there, but I can't show what it is, but there is something there that I am currently using at almost 90 degrees to what I'm at right now. So I'm talking to you, but my breath is all going this direction, and I'm probably getting no plosives whatsoever when I say things like Peter Pepper picked a pickled peppered. You're getting no plosives at all from me.
Really good.
Due to a great mic placement right to the side of my face.
You are, out of the 158 episodes of the podcast, you are the first guest to chroma key out the microphone that they are using on a podcast about microphones.
I know. And here's the thing. As soon as this thing is released, I can show you what it is. But right now, I do have to have my chroma all going right now because this is... funny enough, I may have to leave in the middle of this podcast to go pick up the secondary brother to this microphone because Austin Evans' producer, Matt, is going to stop by for a half second to drop something off. They've been testing something secret.
Can you give us dates? Time frames? Season? Year?
Q3. So we're now in the beginning, or no, we're not in the beginning of Q2. We're at the end-ish, kind of the middle-ish of Q2. I think the end of July is the end of Q2, right? Something like that.
Something like I can't count.
Something like that. It'll be Q3. This will be a Q3 item. I can't release. Oh, well, it's black.
Yeah, right.
There's something that's there that is black, but yeah, we're talking Q3.
Gotcha.
And as you can hear right now, what it sounds like is what the final product will sound like.
Okay. So that is something when I was doing video game streaming a while, this probably like, I still play video games a lot, but I'm mostly doing 95% just chatting content. I have always been interested in testing a shotgun microphone in my setup. And I've always been scared because gaming is a lot of yelling, a lot of key clicks, a lot of keyboard clicks, a lot of movement. And I'm like, I don't really know. First of all, my room treatment in general, I don't have any sound treatment whatsoever. My walls are 4 feet from me on each side, and I'm like, I don't know if it would be great. So, do you think that I should like give it a shot just to see what it would be like, or is it still like, you might not have a great experience?
I think at the end of the day, what you have. And this is critical to the way I suggest all gear purchases to people. If what you have is not broken, don't spend money.
Word.
There's so many things in your life that money is good for. Experiences, living life, all that kind of stuff. It's wonderful. Your setup right now, it's a microphone from a competitor, and I would love to tell you, my shotgun microphones are amazing. Right, they would work for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You also already own a very nice microphone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's hard to suggest to someone. It's like talking to someone who's got a 65-inch television, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about getting the new 65-inch from Sony, but I've already got this this LG." And it's like, is your TV broken? No, it's just it's last year's model, and I want to experiment with the new Sony 65-inch television.
This new LED technology. You sound exactly like, your impersonation sounds like my friend's dad, who would literally buy the biggest, newest TV every single year. He would cut out pieces of his entertainment center so that he could fit the newest TV. It's like, dude, where are all these TVs going?
And as soon as you start talking to people, and this is a problem with the streaming podcast, TikTok, content creator, YouTube life that a lot of people live as content creators, is they're like, well, I'm going to get the new camera that just came out, for the new Sony a7S III. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, because I'm thinking about upgrading from my EOS R5. And I'm like,
hey, man.
What? Like, that's an upgrade? And they're like, well, of course it is, the low lights. And I'm like, but don't you use aperture lights? And they're like, well, yeah, of course. I've got the F300D. And I'm like, then what low light are you talking about?
There is no low light. You are blasting yourself with the sun.
Like, when do you come into this low light situation? Everyone wants to tout low lights and new cameras, and the newest low lights and the newest ISOs can go up to 250,000 ISO. And it's like, why are you going above 3,200?
Dude,
like,
with this, so this is like a $120 LED panel with a softbox. My ISO is on 100 right now,
right.
And like, this is how well lit I am. It's like, oh, this new mouse has 15,000 DPI. Hello?
How big is your screen that you're like running it across?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, at a certain point, there is a law of diminishing returns with all purchases in gear. And this is something that the gear community and tech community really needs to start to addressing at a greater level. Is, I understand quality over quantity, but we as creators also need to start living what we preach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many of us are quick to go and jump on the latest trend because it needs to be the latest trend? I have a habit of this. I have the latest flagship S21 S Plus Ultra. But before this phone, I had the Note 9, which is like a 3-year-old phone. I buy the top tier, but I keep it. I don't upgrade every year.
Yeah, same.
And talking about your microphone, would you look at a shotgun? Yeah, if you really want to try it for the like experience. But like, would I tell the average consumer who already owns something to go and upgrade? It's like, not for experimentation, because you work hard for your money. And I assume a lot of people out there are doing it for a hobby.
Sure.
And when it comes to that last sentence, for a hobby, that qualifier really makes me change dramatically what I suggest to people to buy.
Okay.
When I talk to a working professional sound mixer in Hollywood, when I talk to a broadcaster, the gear that I recommend them use is dramatically different than what I tell when someone who is a dad who wants to just videotape their kids. They're not even the same price budget, but also they're not in the same use case.
Sure.
Just because it's being filmed doesn't mean your needs are the same of that of ABC, NBC, CBS. And I think a lot of people forget that. They forget the perspective of who the audience day-to-day life truly is, because we as tech people don't fit even the budget or the bubble that we are talking to. And we really need to take a step back sometimes and remember that.
Yes. Amen. And I feel like there's an attempt at that, especially on TikTok, where you've got this "don't buy this, buy that instead" series. But the unfortunate reality is 60% of the time, it's somebody with an Amazon affiliate link in their bio that they're just trying to get people to click on. And the actual, the depth of the reasoning behind not this product, not that product, is sandwiched into a 30-second video. It's like, oh, by the way, links in bio, have fun. That has been one of my biggest gripes with TikTok. As much amazing shit as there is on TikTok, I love the platform. I love consuming content on the platform. But tech in the streaming space on TikTok is in shambles. And you are so correct that people like us, when we're talking about tech, we're not talking to our own version of a target market, right? We're talking to like the everyday person. The everyday person is not willing to spend $1,000 to $2,000 on an audio set, even though it's over time, right? Like I never spent that amount of money at once. You buy one piece, you buy the preamp, you buy the compressor, the mixer,
no,
the
but
mic.
Here's the problem. When we talk in video and we say, this is my setup, and it comes up to $1,000, the person watching may own one of those pieces of the gear. Odds are they own 0%. So to them, it is a $1,000 purchase, is what you're suggesting.
True.
And I think most people are not suggesting paths of upgrade or what they need to get now that can then be reused later on in an upgraded setup.
Right.
I think a lot of people are doing videos that do these massive builds, and they're fantastic. But what's missing is the fact that so-and-so has been on YouTube for 10 years, and they didn't start yesterday.
Right.
And that context is hard to put into video, and nor do I expect video creators to put that kind of context in there. But audiences need to start to remember that kind of stuff, is that when you see a video from a mega creator that you love that's got 5 million subs, right? And they're like, this is my YouTube studio. Remember that YouTube creator was on the platform in 2008 when they were 16 and they were buying stuff that was at the Five Below and reviewing whatever tech they could get their hands on. And today they drive the Tesla.
Yep.
But there was a grind to get there. And that should always be respected and remembered, that when people make these suggestions, they're making it for people very similar to themselves often. Or, and this is the biggest importance, for the working professional who is watching their tech review videos because they need it for their industry.
Right. And that makes such a massive difference. And the point that you brought up about creators 10 years ago and what technology they had their hands on, it's crazy that it's never been easier and cheaper to create high quality content with a cell phone at this point. And yet there's still like this motto of, you know, you have to have this amount of hardware in order to produce this type of content.
Here's what's funny to me. And we have been doing a little bit of TikTok, and TikTok is changing everything. And I do think it's for the best. And I don't mean like, oh, the platform is changing how people consume. Sure. Let's look at it from the filmmaking side. This is something that we were talking with our new editor and Deity Steve about the other day, is literally TikTok has influenced filmmaking. And that is, if I take my phone, right, and I hold it like this in the 9:16 format, and I get a solo shot of the person talking, right, and they're going to look to the right, and if they start looking to the left and they throw a t-shirt on their head to act as hair, right, they're playing a female character, they'll play both roles. And you're seeing the solo creator acting as also the actor in it, both roles, and there's no wide shot. And everyone in the room that I suggested that to was like, what do you mean there's no wide shot? And I'm like, there's no wide shots on TikTok. For the most part, creators have to do all the roles themselves.
Right.
You never see Jason Banks where there's 4 of them in a wide shot. No, it's Jason Banks. Wide is, waist up, and then it's cut to the blind Adam, right? Like that's the thing, is I assume they're in a circle all standing next to each other. And I have to assume this, even though it's never once been shown in his comedy sketches, because he's every single actor in it. So rarely do you get a wide shot now, and never in filmmaking history has there ever been a scene where there wasn't at least some kind of establishing shot for references to where we are. With TikTok, you're in the moment already to start with, because I got 15 seconds to catch your attention. I'm in the moment. I'm already halfway through a sketch. I'm already halfway through an inside joke, because I have to be that quick and witty with my writing.
Sure.
Bad writing does not get you views. Good writing gets you views, not good acting. Because TikTok is full of bad acting.
Oh my God,
but
yeah.
Now it's all about writing and getting it out there.
Yep.
That's it. That's what's changing about filmmaking. And in a 9:16 format, a solo shot of someone from a waist all the way to their top gets you this singular person shot. And it's a medium shot with a little bit of looking room, but we're talking just a little bit of looking room. There's still not enough to get a 2-person actor or a 3-person wide shot anymore.
Sure.
What a wide shot composition looks like on a 9:16 is dramatically different. And the way people frame and the way people assess their shooting styles in 9:16 is not the same as how you assess shooting styles and framing in 16:9. It's more than just an inverse of aspect. There's a reframing going on in cinema right now for this format, and it's changing everything.
I love that you have the stance of TikTok isn't just like a social media platform. Like it is a cinema medium. Like it is a medium for creating fantastic video production.
Absolutely.
I love having that.
To say that TikTok is social media would then also be to say that YouTube is social media, that Vimeo is social media. But you wouldn't call Vimeo a social media platform.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
You would call it a classic CDN, a content delivery network, right? It is a platform for content to be delivered out. TikTok is the same thing. Assume that everyone who's on TikTok has a TikTok platform, right? But how many of them are actively creating TikToks? Not that many.
Yeah, when I go through the hundreds of comments that I get from trolls, and I click on profiles just to see like what kind of person they are, it's very rare. And if you get people that are creating, it's like they made 4 a year ago and just haven't made it since.
Absolutely.
I love having that conversation with definitely people in the older generation where they think that like their mindset is that kids these days have no attention span, can't focus on anything. And my rebuttal to that is I think that how we consume things is just completely changed. And we realize that we can consume content without any of the bullshit, without any of the ads, without any of the fluff in between. And we know that when we want to get to something, we can just get to it. We just get to the content and then go.
I was just talking to someone literally 2 hours ago. So I've got some nephews, and their favorite show is this show on YouTube, and it's called The Ninja Kids. And I sat down and I watched an episode, and I said, why do you like this show? And they're like, oh, I love all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they like the story. They like the family. They like the Ninja Kids. I said, and this is the most critical. I said, well, how did you find out about this show? Because how does a 5-year-old find out about a show on YouTube, right? And they said, oh, my friend likes it, and he told me about it, and I watched it at his house. So, okay, that makes sense, right? Friend tells a friend, word of mouth. That still doesn't explain how the Ninja Kids have like 65 million subs. And I sat down and I said, how do you make a show for children and not go to ABC, CBS, NBC and go, we want to put it on Saturday morning? How do you make a show for children, throw it out there on YouTube, and then somehow get the information out to kids who are not on social media? They're not reading magazines. They're not reading newspapers. They're not getting classical, advertising, and they're definitely not getting social media advertising. How do you grow a platform for kids or a show on a platform that really kids are not online in a very traditional sense? Like they don't have Facebook profiles for me to target and be like, if you're under 5, show this ad, right? Like that doesn't exist. So how do you grow something like that? It is a very new challenge that older generation people are going to have to deal with because ABC, NBC, CBS is not being watched by anyone under the age of 15.
That's really true. And there's such a difference of availability, right? Like TVs used to just be there and on and just on all the time. Like the TV being on in a house, like I can just think of all of the times that I've walked into a friend's house, to a family member's house, and a TV or radio is on. It's just almost like a default, and
it's to where and you're on its schedule.
Exactly, and now that is completely flipped. And instead of it just being there and you navigate where you want to go within that schedule, you are initiating the contact with the medium being the internet, and looking for the exact content that you want.
VOD is not new. I cut the cord in the very first Roku box back when Roku was a subsidiary of Netflix. And in order to add something to your Netflix queue, you went to a browser, added it to your queue, and then it showed up on your Roku box. I was I had the first Roku box, and I've been a cord cutter for 12, 13 years now. I love it. But even still, discovering new content on a platform is very difficult for any creator. And some platforms make it super easy, some make it super hard. What TikTok has done different as a CDN, I don't want to call it a social media network, but as a CDN, they've made discovery the easiest possible thing out there. Mm-hmm. Your very first video has a shot of going viral just as much as someone who has 1 million subscribers.
That intimidated the fuck out of me and stopped me from creating my first TikTok for months. And I hated that it did that.
And that's the thing is, like, your 10th TikTok also has the same shot. Now, mind you, they will also show up on people's For You page, but also show up on the ones that you subscribe to page, which is why theirs almost always go viral. And it's not because the algorithm loves them more. It's because they have 1 million people subscribing to them. And most people forget this. There's 2 feeds on TikTok. There's the For You. And then if you swipe to the other side, there's the ones really for you, which is the ones you subscribe to.
That swipe feature is gone on iOS. I can no longer swipe between feeds.
Okay, hold on. Let me check to see if it's gone on mine. I also barely get on TikTok anymore. No, it's still there.
What the fuck? Come on, Apple.
Do you not have this right here, the following feed?
I have to tap it to get to. When I swipe now, it takes me to that creator's profile. It doesn't swap from feed to feed now.
Oh, I do have to tap.
Oh, okay. I was like,
but nevertheless, following, that's another news feed, you know, that you get. And to the people that have 1 million subscribers, right? There's the Carter PCs of the world. Well, yeah, they've got 2 million people subscribing to him. So of course, when he does a video that's similar to yours, but he goes viral and you don't. Hold on, that's the so and so's.
Go for it.
Yeah, just a second.
Yep. So he's got oh no. So okay, I think it's out of frame. I think we're okay. So he's got a top secret microphone that is currently chroma keyed out, and when he stood up, it started showing it. Well, welcome to the podcast, everybody. He had he said Austin Evans' producer or editor was coming by the house to grab a microphone, a prototype microphone that is top secret, and so he had to go and grab it. Has his background's been changing? I've been so focused on him that I haven't noticed if his backgrounds have been changing throughout the podcast or not. He's so sneaky, this motherfucker. To answer your question, we haven't gotten to talk about hardware quite yet. We've just been kind of talking about TikTok. Talking about content on the platform. The goldfish brains of millennials these days can never escape it. Thank you guys all. Thank you all for being here. Hope you guys are having a good time out there. There's a background swap 5 seconds in. Okay, gotcha. Da, da, da. Oh,
be right back. Oh.
See, yeah,
be right back.
You want to say hi?
What's up, dude?
Really was, yeah. Just
Sorry.
It's all good. It's so polite. That was funny. What's up, dude? I wear sunglasses inside. What's good, dude? Fuck y'all. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what he's using in order to chroma out. Oh, I have no idea. I've actually been. I want to ask him about his setup. I obviously can't ask him about the microphone, but of how he's doing his video and stuff. Are you, Kayla? You at the gym right now? Oh my god! Yo, Mace, good to see you. Gunslinger, good to see you. Welcome in, people. Yeah, I was actually just getting ready to shift the conversation over to Deity. We want to hear about the start. I don't know how long he's been with Deity, so that's something that I want to ask him too, and just get a little bit of history on that. Like I mentioned before, I have a Deity microphone for my Sony a6400. I use a Beach Tech preamp with it, and that's what I use to record like my my TikToks and my YouTube videos, and it is awesome. I'll tell you what, we were talking about shotgun microphones earlier. It is way harder to get a shotgun microphone sounding good in an area that just isn't treated as well. And that was one of my first, like, after knowing microphones to a certain extent, I bought my first shotgun microphone and I just had absolutely no idea what I was doing. It was like a completely different ball game. I didn't realize how heavily I relied on the software aspect of microphones and OBS. And then I picked up like my first recorder, right? And you get to this point where instead of using the camera's onboard audio and plugging the mic directly in, you use a preamp and a second recorder. And then you got to sync your audio and video in post. And it's like, oh my God, this is so much more work. YouTubers put that shit in. Like live streamers, we get on, we turn on our game, we turn on our game capture, we turn on our microphone. It's all sent to one spot. Doesn't matter if there's fuck ups. You do whatever. And then YouTubers, man, they got to put in the work. And then I'm hearing about this fucking ninja. It's what's always crazy to me? When he brought up a YouTube channel that has 60 million subscribers and I've never heard of it. And I feel like that is happening more and more and more. It's also crazy to be perusing Twitter and to see these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who are professional video game players, right? Professional esports contenders. And you go to their profile and they've got like 1 to 2 million followers on Twitch. You say, holy shit, how? I've never heard of this person before. But it goes to show how vast the space of Twitch is and how many creators there can be and how large they are. And you can absolutely just have no idea who they are. Yeah, what's good, dude? Welcome back.
Hey. On Access. Sorry, just had to get a special something dropped off.
Wait, he dropped it off, but in like a sealed package, like it was going to be shipped?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't ask.
What a nice guy.
Yeah.
So perfect time, since I forgot what we were talking about, to kind of shift the conversation. I'd love to hear about kind of the start of you and the company. So I know your involvement in the company, but I don't know to what extent. So do you want to take this opportunity to like explain who you are, explain what Deity is, and kind of what you guys do?
Sure. So we started off in 2018. In April of 2018, we went public and live, and yeah,
that recent.
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years, 3 months.
Wow. All right. I had no. You guys are far along for 3 years. I am crazy impressed.
We launched 39 months ago.
Wow. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
It's kind of like a baby. You can just count it in months still.
No, you can't. I will not let you do that.
Yeah. How old is Deity? Well, it's 39 months. This doctor's appointment.
God.
Yeah, we came out on the scene pretty hard. We launched with 3 products, and then we've had a very aggressive product release schedule of about 4 to 6 products a year. For the past 3 years. So it's been, I think we're up to 20 different items. And by the end of this year, it'll be over 25 different items that we have invented and produced.
Hearing that out loud is insane for how quickly and strongly you got into wireless audio and how great it is for how long you guys have been around.
So wireless audio, that's the funny thing. So we launched in April of 2018. But Cine Gear in 2018, which is in June, the first week of June, I'm sitting at a table. In-N-Out has their food truck, and I'm sitting at a table drawing out the schematics for the wireless on an In-N-Out napkin. If there isn't anything more California, it's an In-N-Out napkin is the napkin we use to design everything on. You've heard of like, oh yeah, we just drew it on a napkin at a bar and like we made it. Ours was an In-N-Out napkin.
Please tell me that napkin still exists.
No, but the original drawing that was then followed up with that, like the official CAD drawings and everything, like a week later still do.
Awesome.
I wish I may do like an artificial recreation just for the wall.
There you go.
And that's just an excuse to go to In-N-Out again.
You know what? Can we get people to stop shitting on In-N-Out? I don't know what it is, but you will be having a conversation about burgers, not even talking about California, and somebody will pop in and be like, dude, In-N-Out fucking sucks. I hope you guys all know that.
Don't get me wrong. It does suck.
Yes!
It does suck. Okay? In-N-Out does suck. But here's the thing. When people talk about burgers, in the same conversation they talk about Five Guys and Smash Burger and all this sort of stuff, and on the same conversation in which they're spending $24 for a burger and fries, right? I can get like some spare change out of my pocket and buy an In-N-Out burger.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
It's not the same tier. I'm sorry. When people are like, oh no, Smash Burger is better. And I'm like, yeah, but you also spent like what I can pay my whole family to go to In-N-Out for. You bought one burger and you still had to ask for fries extra.
Yep. And that like $6 chocolate shake.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Smash Burger is wonderful, but like, let's call it what it is. It's a premium, more expensive option.
Yep, definitely.
And in that category, it's still not even the best. It's called Umami Burger, and that's better.
Never even heard of that.
That's another California brand. Umami
Gotcha.
Burger. And it's one of those it's one of those douchey ones where they'll put the egg on it and then they stab it with a knife, get the egg. Don't get me wrong. It's got like, instead of like lettuce, like everyone else is like, oh yeah, you put iceberg lettuce on the burger. Like Umami Burger is like, we put arugula. It's totally a douchey burger and I don't care and I love it.
I love some douche food. That's all good.
It's totally that. And at the end of the day, it's better than Smash Burger. And it's the same price point as Smash Burger. And that's what I'm always trying to say.
Right. What were you doing before Deity?
So before Deity, I was a location sound mixer here in LA. And I was also running like this little tech review website on the side where I was reviewing high-end professional location sound mixer gear so that other location sound mixers knew which one to buy and which one not to buy. And I mean, it was down to like some really industry like niche kind of stuff, like time code boxes.
Oh, wow.
Shock mounts. We're talking like the accessory to the accessory. Which one are you going to get? Because there's subtle differences. And let's talk about the minutia of what this is, right? So it was a niche site.
Okay.
Max, it was probably getting around 15,000 readers a month.
Oh, that's still a hefty amount.
It is. It's not bad. I mean, I don't know what the unique readership was. We were putting out maybe an article a week.
Okay.
So, 15,000, very good for a niche audience, right? And of that, one of the readers happened to be a guy named Ted Sim, who at the time was the president of Aperture. They came out with this little microphone called the Aperture Deity Shotgun. And he said, you do reviews of high-end sound gear for the professionals. We have a new high-end shotgun microphone for professionals. Do you want to review it? And I said, absolutely, send it to me. So he sent me one, and I reviewed it, and I said, this is good for YouTubers, but a pro would never use this. And it was a positive-ish review, but I said, at the end of the day, I still need to buy my X, Y, and Z brands because they are better. Simple as that.
Okay.
And I get an email back, and he goes, you're the first reviewer ever to give us a negative review. Everyone else loves this microphone. can you come down and sit with our engineers and talk about what you don't like about it? And I said, yeah, I'll come sit with your engineers. And I come down and I sit with the engineers for 4 hours. And at the end of the day, I'm like, look, it's a fine microphone. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to fix. The problem is you're an LED light company. You make some microphones, but you don't have a lineup of microphones. And it's clear there's no vision for what the follow-up to this microphone is. What's this shotgun got? What else is going to be offered so that a producer who sees me use a Aperture shotgun microphone knows it and knows about it, right? Because a lot of sound equipment used in the professional Hollywood space is known not by its model name. No producer can name a model of shotgun microphone, but they can go, well, I like the blue one. I like that brand. Make sure you bring from this brand. This brand of wireless is what we want on our set. They don't know the models. They don't know the gritty details. It's not their job to know. And when I was saying all this stuff, they realized they needed to do something more than just make one good shotgun.
Okay.
And they say, thank you for your time, and we'll catch up with you later on the next one. And I said, cool. 2.5 years later rolled by, and now it is like January 2018. Or January, 2018. And they call me in and they say, hey, we want to talk to you about something. I said, cool. What do you got? What, something new? And he goes, kind of. So we're closing the audio division of Aperture because it didn't pick up with the pros. I said, really? So it didn't? He goes, no, everything you predicted was correct.
Wow.
And everyone else told us it was going to do great, and everyone else was wrong. And I said, yeah, well, okay.
That's what I do.
I'm sorry. He goes, well, instead of closing that division, do you want to run it? Do you want it? And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, we'll just make it its own thing. You be the product designer and give it a vision, give it a roadmap, tell the engineers what they need to do. We'll hire brand new engineers for you. And yeah, over coffee in Hollywood, I said, yeah, let's do this thing. So Deity was formed literally over a latte in downtown Hollywood. And by the end of the time, my muffin was done and my latte was done, we had already kind of formed the basis of what this was going to look like and be. And
wow.
By April 2018, just a few months later, we're on the public stage at NAB showing everything off that we had kind of come up with.
Was it mind-blowing for a single person to put such a monumental amount of trust and confidence in you? Or were you just like, bitch, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. give me that company.
I'll say this. I've known Ted for a long time. So by the time I reviewed for him, I had also met with him I'm glossing over some of that other,
Sure.
Literally 2.5, 3 years of time. I knew him. I knew him at parties. I knew him at events and trade shows. And we conversated quite a bit. So when he sat down and said, hey, this is something I think you would be the person to do because you seem to have a want and a desire for it,
mm-hmm.
It felt natural. It
wow.
felt like something that I didn't know that I was already wanting to do. And funny enough, so this conversation is happening in late January. I had just gone to an event in Anaheim in 2018 called NAMM Winter. And it's a mega microphone audio pro musician show where everyone shows off their latest Gibson guitars. Everyone shows off the latest drums, right? Like every manufacturer in the music space shows stuff off. And I had gone with the intent of finding a factory in Shenzhen to make some designs I had on a personal level.
Okay.
So I had already kind of in my head wanted to make some stuff and work with a factory for my own stuff. And here I'm granted instead of having to work with a factory, have a factory. I don't have to do the negotiating. It's already done. So a part of it was just natural to fall into. And I was like, it's a dream. And by the end of summer, that dream came very much true after doing one more trade show. And here I am standing in Singapore at a trade show going, this is happening all very fast. And I love it.
I am absolutely on board.
This energy level, this speed, this desire of everyone I'm working with to make it. Because you could tell a lot of people were excited about the microphone brand.
Right.
And I mean internally in the company. They were excited that it's going to have a vision. And that energy is kind of what drove me, was working with people that were excited to get to work.
Absolutely. It's also crazy to me that a company as established as Aperture can come out with a product and it not necessarily fail, but not take. And for you to just be like, all right, well, we're just going to start something new and then have that be it. That, I guess, is something that I don't comprehend.
Here's the thing. So when I say didn't take, the caliper of customer they wanted didn't adopt it.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that's an internal vision versus external reality. External reality was it was a very good seller. External reality is it was very popular amongst YouTubers. Everyone who reviewed it loved it. Everyone who got one loved it. Internally, there was goals that they wanted, and they realized the best way to get that goal was to look beyond their capabilities.
Okay.
And I think that's something that a lot of people need to realize, and it's something that I struggle with all the time. And that is, we all want to do it ourselves. We think I can throw my name into it. I can build a website. I don't need to hire a designer to build a website. I know WordPress. I can do it. Capability and skill set is different.
Right. Expertise.
I'm capable of doing a WordPress website. This last month, I've met with website designers, and they're like, here, let me show you what is possible. And I looked at it and I realized in a meeting, well, I have made the WordPress website for our website for 3 years now. I've crafted the vision. I've gone in. I've done the Gutenberg blocks, and I've done all the work to put the data into the website. What these guys were able to present to me in a meeting was not within my grasp. No way could I ever have come up with the gorgeous designs they came up with.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I had to sit there going, just because I can do it doesn't mean I need to. I need to delegate.
Yep. I feel like I'm talking to myself right now.
I think that's the best way to describe the answer as to, like, when Aperture saw what they had created, could they have done it all within the Aperture brand at the time? Because they were also making monitors, they were making camera support stuff, they were making microphones. Could they have done it? Sure. Did they realize that delegating it was a better option? Yes. And I think that's the best way to look at that kind of solution. And the way to answer that is, I don't think they thought they failed. They realized they could succeed more by going hands off.
Right. And
that's something that a lot of creators also deal with. Oh, I was the one who was hosting the video, and I wrote the script, and I can edit the video, and I can do this, and I can do that, and I can post it, and I can share it on social media, and I can run my social media. And at a certain level, you should start to ask for help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that help that you ask for, that transition of and this is kind of, I hear this all the time with small business owners. And if you think of your YouTube channel, you think of your content that you create, your Twitch stream, all of it as a small business, there is I'm working for the small business and I'm working within the small business.
Yep.
You know, at a certain point, you have to stop working for the small business and you have to work within it. It's a thing now, and you are one part of it. You aren't the small business.
And there's also the hardest part for like a new creator who just starts getting those Twitch payouts to take its entirety and pay an editor, pay a social media manager, pay a script writer. Like, nobody wants to take all that lovely money that they just made and like pay. He's like, why would I take all this first hunk of money that I got and pay somebody to do the job that I've already been doing myself for the entire time? Even from a personal perspective, that's difficult. I did a quick YouTube search for Aperture Deity shotgun microphone, and it was so long ago that Caleb from DSLR Shooter still had hair in the thumbnail of that video. So I see Caleb did a video on it, Curtis Judd did a video on it, and then I actually see right below it the video that Kai did on the Deity D3 Pro, which is actually the video that convinced me to buy my Deity D3 Pro.
Oh, right, where he goes shopping with it in a very busy shopping, I guess, supermarket. I don't know what they call them there in the UK.
Yep.
And he's got it on the shopping cart, walking around with it, and he's probably a good meter away using that because there is in the UK and whatnot. And you pick him up perfectly.
Yep. And I was so impressed, even with the audio test that he did at the end. I mean, he has an amazing, smooth voice, and the hint of his accent just makes him such an attractive man. But holy crap, I was so impressed with the sound that came out of that microphone at that price point. I'm like, it makes no sense to try anything else. Because at that time, this was probably, this is pre-pandemic. Maybe a couple months before pandemic is when I bought the microphone. And looking around, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of options around that price range, a little bit higher. And I'm like, sometimes I have this like startup itch where I see a company that's a little bit newer, and I'm like, man, I just want to give them a shot, because I like giving newer companies shots. I like kind of getting in at the ground floor, and the mic hasn't disappointed me. It's just to blow a little smoke up your butt.
Yeah. Let me real fast.
Yep, go for it.
Yep.
He's a businessman, chat. Don't talk shit, all right? I cannot believe that Deity has only been around for 3 years. So it's probably coming up on 4 years. And also, I had no idea about the relationship with Aperture. I didn't know that either. Yeah, Joe Tachi, by the way, if you're going to submit a question, exposed indeed. If you're going to post a question, just use the exclamation point Q in chat, followed by your question, and our bot will grab it. It must not be that secret if he's trusting if he's trusting the NVIDIA Chroma key. Dude, his phone case matches his hat. I just noticed that. Welcome back.
I'm back.
Microphones. Yeah, so it's super cool to hear the backstory. I had no idea about the relationship with Aperture, so thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah. I mean, they're wonderful people, and anyone who is in the YouTube community knows that they make great lights for the YouTube content creators, and they are killing it when it comes to the Hollywood, productions.
Absolutely. By the way, I forgot to ask you, what was your hard stop time for tonight? Because I want to be mindful of your time. If you want to hold up a peace sign whenever you're getting ready to end, and that'll just be the subtle, hey, wrap it up. What was it, the Dave Chappelle skit? The wrap it up box?
Wrap it up box. Wrap it up, Judge.
Wrap it up. I'd love to talk about really quick before we get into some questions about streamers and audio.
Sure,
what is your creator experience with TikTok been? So not your content consuming, but how has creating content for TikTok been for you so far?
So I'll answer this from a company / brand perspective, because I personally don't have a TikTok on a personal level. We do it as a company to have a presence on the platform so that, and this is critical, we have it so that when we reach out to other creators on the platform, they know it's the authentic brand. They know it's not some weird brand where someone's trying to steal identity and that kind of thing, right? So many creators are worried about giving away their information to strangers on the internet, as you should be. So we do it from a authoritarian, kind of a authoritative account. So that's really Deity. That's clearly the brand. We're linking to it on other platforms to that platform. So hey, either this is the world's greatest hoax, or that's actually Deity reaching out to me to see if I want to review a microphone.
Absolutely.
That's one of the reasons why we do it. So if you're a brand out there and you do need reviews and you need press and media, there are press and media and reviewers on TikTok. So if you're watching this and you're a person who works at a company who does do that kind of stuff, where you send out units for a review so that people can try it out and be honest with their audience, TikTok's a great platform for that. There's a growing number of that. That said, don't count on your company TikTok to blow up and be the biggest thing in TikTok. It's not going to happen. Very, very few companies blow up on TikTok. I think the only one I can think of is Scrub Daddy.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah. The guy who makes the sponge that's like a face on a sun. Scrub Daddy, TikTok. Look it up. He has some that are like 3 feet wide that he uses in his TikTok channel. And he
400,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah, Scrub Daddy, a sponge company, is one of the biggest viral companies on TikTok.
No, I never would have guessed. It is, what a story from that guy and that company. Right? Holy hell.
From a guy who went on Shark Tank, who got Lori Greiner to see a vision, and him to go to this, where he now has a giant warehouse and factory and patents and deals with so many different retailers. And here he is holding a sponge on TikTok as he dances. Like,
and just raking it in even more. That TikTok creator fun, baby. Let's go.
But I mean, that's the thing is, like, if you're a company, don't expect his success. Don't look at his channel and say, oh, I just got to do a couple of dances and I got to do it to the modern songs and people will like us. No. Some of the most hardest working corporate company accounts on TikTok are your small businesses that do print t-shirts, or they do print and small stuff on Etsy. And they're really Etsy businesses that have a TikTok, and they're using their TikTok to tell the journey of a small business.
Yes. Which is, I love that part of TikTok. It's,
yes.
There's a sandwich shop here in Metro Detroit area, Michigan. Thank you, baby. And there's a gentleman, his name is Ernie, and the place is called Ernie's Market. It's been there for 110 years or some shit. Like, crazy longevity. And he is just the coolest fucking guy ever. He's always happy, genuinely loves every human being without a shadow of a doubt. He's just like an awesome guy. And I made a TikTok about that business and a little bit of his personality. And then, of course, you've got TikTok's algorithm that feeds it to people locally once it starts to kind of get traction. And the thing just blew up. And so the Ernie's staff saw that TikTok and, it created a conversation. I'm like, you guys don't realize the reach that you could have by focusing on the journey of Ernie, his kind of legacy with the company.
The day-to-day operations of small businesses fascinate the viewers of TikTok.
Yes.
And the people who do stuff like, I run a t-shirt shop on Etsy. Here's my journey as I have to pack 200 orders because you guys blew up my last video and I got a bunch of orders. And here's how here's what it's going to take for me to fulfill all these orders. Here's me waking up at 5 a.m. and they will do that journey, that classic vlog life where it's just telling your day-to-day story. It's not the manufactured vlogs that we see now from entertainment YouTubers, but it's the classic vlog, that almost that Casey Neistat style, where it's
I fucking love Casey.
where it's just fly on the wall. Here's what Casey did today. And he's not trying to put on a show for his camera. It's his camera just captured his day. And that part of TikTok is still alive and well.
Yes.
And a small business can take advantage of that, can take a look at that and go, look, I can show people that I'm small. I can embrace the size of my company, use that as an asset, because there are people out there, especially in the millennial generation, the Gen Zers, who want to embrace small businesses and help them out instead of going to Target, instead of going to Walmart.
Absolutely.
Not that there's anything wrong with those other big companies too, because I've got to buy toilet paper, right? I'm not going to Etsy to buy toilet paper from some artisan maker, right? It's just not how I'm going to do my life. But there are people out there that want to hear your journeys because they may be thinking about starting their own Etsy company. So if you're out there and you're like, what's the experience I could have as a company on the platform? There's two options. And we went the exact opposite. We went all tutorials. We sell a product that has a barrier of education issue. People go to film school. If you were to walk into a class in film school and say, who wants to be a director? And 100 people are in that class, 100 hands are going to get raised. They all want to be directors. You say, how many of you guys want to be camera operators? Again, every single person in that class in a film school is going to raise their hands. And then you say, how many people here want to be sound mixers?
Chirp, 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 chirp.
No one
chirp,
wants
chirp.
to raise their hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a barrier to entry problem, and that is education. So we made our TikTok 100%, for the most part, education based. And we wanted to educate our customer, educate our potential new customer through how to use this product better. And through using it better, maybe that'll benefit you.
Yep.
Instead of doing a direct sales approach of, we're going to make a commercial, and this is one of the worst, tackiest lines in TikTok history, and you see it from TikTok themselves, and that is, don't make ads, make TikToks. And it's like, what the fudge does that mean?
Just to record your life, man.
Just make a TikTok. Don't make an ad, make a TikTok.
I can see the anguish behind your eyes with that one.
Well, no, because think about it. Every single company in history and marketing and PR and all of it, right? They make an ad for television. It's 30 seconds long and it shows how to use a toilet. Here's how our paper towel compares to their paper towel. We absorb more. Buy us when you go shopping this next week. And they will run that ad, which is slightly educational to the feature set of their product, right? And they will run that for years.
Yep.
And not once even bother to update it. They may update it with a new face, but how much does my paper towel absorb versus your paper towel is the same ad they've been running for 20 plus years, right?
And with that said, I will never forget the Sears commercial about air conditioners, where it's like the mom and dad sitting at the table, and the dad's like fanning himself, and he's like, the air conditioner's broken, and she goes, all right, well, why don't you call? And he goes, I'll call tomorrow. And she goes, you'll call today. And he says, I'll call today. Maybe
right.
It's like, I will never forget that.
But how many times did they have to show you that commercial?
Oh my God, thousands.
Right, and that's
thousands.
How television worked. I showed you the same ad 7 times before you'd buy it.
Yep.
How many times do they show you a TikTok? Once. I show you one TikTok once, and the odds of you seeing that TikTok ever again is 0%.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So when they say, and I know it's a cheesy, terrible, cringy line, don't make ads, make TikToks. If you are a company, don't expect to take your paper towel thing, right? One paper towel absorbs more than the other paper towel, and you throw that video up on TikTok. Don't expect it to go anywhere. Expect it to die, because that is not going to appeal to anyone.
Right.
And then when you've done that same video a 7th time and it doesn't still work, you shouldn't be shocked. So in the make TikToks not ads world that we are coming and very fast approaching on all social media platforms and essentially all content delivery networks. So YouTube, Vimeo, sure, Daily Motion. I think that's still a thing in Europe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. if you're approaching this fast and you're realizing TV is dead, that even cable is dead, right? You need to start thinking about the content you create. Does it have appeal to a viewer who is voluntarily choosing to watch it? And that's been my experience with TikTok. Create content that your audience voluntarily chooses to watch.
Yep.
That's what it means to make a TikTok. To make an ad means I'm going to sponsor something and force you to watch it.
Right.
And that doesn't have any appeal in the world of VOD.
And it takes an immense amount of skill to be able to capture that attention from a voluntary watcher.
And a voluntary watcher is the key. I can in TikTok especially. You hold your phone, you sit there, you go, oh yeah, okay, boop, boop, no, yes. Watch it for 15 seconds. Okay, I missed something. Let me watch it again.
Yep.
Oh, I see what they did there. Next. Okay, that's pretty good. Next. Oh, no, next.
Oh, it's that again.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. It's the, if you don't get me in 3 seconds, I'm out, because there are options like that. It is the Tinder of viewing platforms.
Oh my God, yeah, you're correct.
You know what I mean? It's literally, I don't like it, I can swipe it away, and there is something new presented to me that the algorithm, who knows me really well, can deliver something. And if you don't fit my algorithm, because your algorithm is different, that viewer's algorithm is different, her algorithm over there, that's different, right? If you don't fit my algorithm, I'm never going to see you, or I'm going to get rid of you so fast, I'm never going to see you again.
Yep, and I'm just going to mark it not interested. I did a quick search for toilet paper on Etsy and was pleasantly surprised.
You'll find it. You will find it. There are artisan toilet papers out there, but I'm still going to Target. Okay. I'm squishing the Charmin.
I will say there is a tic-tac-toe bath roll holder. So it's a wooden tic-tac-toe shelf that comes with 4 X's, and then you put toilet papers in the empty parts of the tic-tac-toe. So it looks like a tic-tac-toe game, but with toilet paper.
But no one wins.
If you're pooping, you're winning. I guess is the only way that I can spin that.
That's fair.
So I want to ask you, what is your favorite non-technical TikTok content that you've seen?
Jason Banks is way up there on the list because he can do some edgy comedy, and yet it is not a single negative comment in his comment section. And that's fantastic to see. I love that, because if you think about that, how easy is it to make someone mad? Pretty easy.
Oh my God. You can breathe wrong.
And yet Jason Banks doesn't. I mean, he's got a character who is gay. He's got a character who's blind. He's got a few others that just have their own personalities, because every little person in his sketches has like their personality traits. And yet every single comment is going to be, oh, I think you're so funny. Can't wait till you get to my city, because he's doing a comedy special right now. So like half his videos are shot in hotel rooms. And
interesting.
He's having to do it all on the road right now. And yet everyone loves him. And that's the kind of content that I love to see, because he is creative without being offensive. And that's so hard in the world of comedy. As someone who loves comedy and stand-up comedians and all that kind of stuff, it's easy to play blue because you can get a cheap laugh from a drunk.
Sure.
You just drop a couple of F-bombs and a drunk person will laugh. That's not even hard.
Right.
But to get a good laugh from a sober audience member in 15 seconds, tell a joke, tell a whole story kind of skit in 15, 20 seconds, and still get a laugh from someone who's sober is amazing. That's a good skill set. I look at his sketches, and they're very much like Bob Newhart to me. The old
I don't know who that
Bob
is.
Newhart.
I'm going to Google him.
Yeah, Bob Newhart. You should definitely look at Bob Newhart, and he's hilarious. And Jason Banks gives me this Bob Newhart kind of vibe. Bob Newhart used to have a couple of sitcoms as well as a nighttime show.
Wait,
And he was a writer for a lot of shows.
was he Dad Elf in the movie Elf? With
That's Bob Newhart.
No fucking way. Okay, I saw him. I'm like, why does this guy look so familiar? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
My
Jason
favorite.
Banks gives me that vibe, and it's fantastic.
He's got to be up there in age, just based on. Is he still?
Bob, yeah. Bob's still around. Yeah.
Okay. There, every once in a while, my feed gets filled with like candy, people that make candy and taffy. It's like they just go through. It's like they get those big lumps of hot candy and then they throw it on the hook and they're pulling it, stretching it, flipping it.
Sure.
And then they're going and they're chopping up all the candy. I'm like, that's the coolest shit ever. And then there's candy companies. They just make TikToks of them bagging people's orders and everybody just gobs it right up.
That's huge content, right? Like as a small business, you want to think like, oh, of all the things in my business, what should I film as a TikTok? Should it be the shipping and handling department? And yet that is a massive section of TikTok is people fulfilling orders and just shipping. Or there's that guy who reviews other people who do shipping and handling, and he says whether or not they're doing it to the best ability. His whole shtick is reactions to shipping and handling, and I'm like, that's amazing. I'll watch this guy.
No shit. Very interesting.
I'm trying to find my favorite TikToker, and someone I follow. He's a chef, and I can't remember his name.
Oh man, Chef TikTok gets me hungry almost instantaneously.
What is his name? Oh, I wonder if he uses a funny logo. That's why I'm not finding it.
I fucking hate the people that do that.
I use a funny logo. I can't find it. I use a logo, but it's my company's logo, so I'm not
and that's like recognizable. But when people have names and avatars that don't match the brand or anything,
right. Okay. So you can talk to this because you have a brand. First off, the other one I just found it. Rod, love Rod. I can watch Rod all day. ROD. Look him up at Rod. It's just one word.
Wow.
Follow him. Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing. He's never done a bad video. Super funny. He's millennial content. So if you're a little on the older demographic, you're going to get him. If you're on the Gen Zer, you're going to be like, why is that old man talking? That's okay. You just listen to Rod and you're going to get a good education.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm trying to find it. He's a chef. Maybe he's a chef. I don't even know if he's a chef. He could be an actor just doing a sketch. His whole deal, and maybe someone in the comments or in the live chats will know who I'm talking about. His whole thing is doing antique recipes from antique recipe books. So he will take, one was a good one, was potato donuts from 1970s Great Depression.
I just saw that.
You know who I'm talking about, right? That he's really skinny. He's got a funny voice. He does because he does like some inflections on certain words in the recipe.
B. Dylan Hollis.
Yes.
There
is
it
that
is.
Who it is?
Yep.
Why didn't you not show up? I'm going through everyone I follow. I'm doing it on my personal page.
Okay. Dylan. Yeah, the potato donuts was his last TikTok. 9 million views on that. Yeah, B. Dylan Hollis.
Yeah, again, I wish he had a better name. And it's I know it's his real name, guys. I understand that. But at a certain point, he should be like Chef Depression, right? Like something like that.
There you go.
Like, embrace the character and wrap your branding around the character. That'll help with SEO too.
There you go.
Right? Like I'm not looking up B. Dylan Hollis. But in my head, I'm like, he's that guy who's the chef from the Great Depression. He does all the weird recipes.
Yeah, I Googled antique recipes TikTok, and his was the first entry.
Exactly. His is fantastic. You watch his stuff, right?
So I've seen it. So like
you saw the donut one.
Yep.
Did you watch the full thing where he got to the end? And he does his like he's got a signature reaction, and that's another thing that I think a lot of people can embrace is he's embraced this character of this chef that cooks in this kitchen, and he's using the worst ingredients in the world because that's what the recipe called for, because it's the Great Depression, it's the Civil War, it's antique recipes that would never make it today. And yet half the ones he likes, the other half he's like, this should have stayed back in the Civil War. And it's fantastic content, and it's something that would never be on television. It would never be on cable. No. Cooking Channel is not going to be given a show to someone who goes, every recipe we're going to do in this show. And they're like, yeah, what kind of recipes are you going to do? And he's like, I want to do them from the Great Depression. Oh, okay. So like beef Wellington and fancy foods that the bourgeoisie would have eaten. And you're like, no, I want to eat the food that the poor people ate during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
No TV executive's going to agree like that. And yet, if you look at TikTok, and I found him, right? Here it is, 4.6 million followers, nearly 80 million views, and he's a hit.
What's
the
insane
audience is out there, and he never would have gotten approved, even on YouTube. I don't think this content would have worked on YouTube.
No.
Because if you look at the way he frames his shot, it's this shot that would not be appealing on a 16:9 platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's content that the YouTube algorithm, we all know, likes 10-minute videos.
Yep.
They used to favor the short stuff, and now they are favoring 10 to 15-minute videos. And yet, I'm not going to watch this for 10 to 15 minutes, but you give it to me for 30 seconds, and it's the best 30 seconds I love.
Yep.
And I've been known to go in and click over, but 4 minutes later, I've watched 5 videos and I'm ready for something new.
Yeah. What's insane about these stats is that for the most part, video views to followers, every single follower watches his video at least once. Like when you that is insane. And obviously it doesn't work out that way, but when you look at like Twitch subscribers to viewers, right? There's always way more subscribers
I watched
than viewers.
You once 6 months ago. I hit follow, and I've never seen you again.
Exactly. Or like Summit 1G, right? 3-4 million followers, averaging anywhere in between 10 to 30,000 viewers. And the views per stream are way greater than that, but that is some insane.
Yeah,
I mean,
this guy's crazy in the sense that like he put out an idea that on paper should not be popular, that no one would go immediately and think, oh yeah, I would gonna search for that today. But because of the discoverability of TikTok, people discovered something outside of their comfort zone, absorbed it in a bite-sized chunk, and said, yeah, you know what? If I see one of those every 3 days, I'd actually enjoy that. Follow.
Yep. 15 seconds of my time, 30 seconds.
And that's where I think a lot of people look at TikTok and they sit there and they downplay like, oh, that's for kids who just dance. This guy's not dancing. He's cooking.
Yeah.
He's reviewing. He's giving you some comedy. He's giving you some insight and a little education. And in what other platform would that work with that kind of discoverability? You're not going to look that up on Facebook. You're not going to sit there in Facebook in a search ball and go, I want to join a Facebook group for people who reviews, like who eat recipes from the 1920s.
Right. Or I want to watch candy be made. I've never searched for how is candy made. I just eat that shit.
Right. Like these are things that like as discoverable as YouTube is with the homepage, it's still showing you stuff that's pretty much identical to the channels you already subscribe to.
Right.
Or it's 12-year-old videos from that subscriber because the algorithm's broken today. You know what I mean?
Amen.
I mean, how many of us have gotten a Linus Tech Tip video that's 4 years old?
Yeah.
All of us, right?
And I'm watching it.
Sure. But new discovery on that platform is starting to die. New discovery on Instagram is the same way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Instagram's tough.
Instagram is tough, and it's getting tougher.
Yeah.
Like I feel like hashtag searching is not as popular as it was 2 years ago.
No.
People used to click on a hashtag from a photo they liked and go look at other things like it. That's just not happening. The way the audience interacts with that app now is different.
Yep.
You know, and there's almost zero discoverability on things like Snapchat and a few other platforms that are video-esque kind of platforms. TikTok is the number one discoverability platform on the market right now, and I don't think people should sleep on it.
Amen to that. I'd like to shift the conversation a little bit. Getting back to as regards to like audio and stuff. Did you say that you started off with audio mixing, mastering?
So I was a location sound mixer, which means I go out into the field on set, would set up the microphones on the actors and record all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. How much experience or time did you put into actually like EQing mics, like the post production of the audio side?
Zero.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and not that I don't know how. It's just that's not a location sound mixer's job.
Gotcha.
There is a philosophy in Hollywood that you stick to your department, and there is a whole other department in post who handles all that stuff because they are masters of it.
Interesting.
At best, low cut would be the thing that I would do because I'd be like, oh, there's a highway like over there. Let's just add a little bit of low cut.
Master, no, give me some praise. In regards to new streamers getting into audio, where USB microphones are starting to make a comeback because it seems like companies are starting to get on board with.
There's good ones being made,
right?
I mean, if you talk to someone 2 years ago, not long, 24 months, that's still an infant. And you said, hey, I want to buy a USB mic. They would have been like, why are you throwing your money away? That thing's useless. There's no good USB mics. And in the last, I think we can all say within the last pandemic, USB mic quality has shot way up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm talking to you right now on a USB mic.
I wasn't going to point it out.
I'm talking to you on a USB mic. And I don't think they're worthless.
Yep. Agreed. Very much agreed.
But 2 years ago, they were. And there is still a stigma, I think, because the tech moves faster than the news.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
The stigma of, and there's always that saying like, well, for every negative news story, you need 10 good positive ones to overcome it. And that's what they say about politicians. You say that about tech and people get this embedded mindset that it's stuck in its ways. That the USB port's the problem. And it's like, no, the USB port was not the problem. It's a connector that delivers. The thing behind the USB port, it was the preamplifier. That was the problem. The cheap capsule being put in microphones, that was the problem. If you fix that, the USB mic's good. And I think a lot of brands are starting to realize that just because you put an XLR connector on it doesn't make it good. And just because you put a USB mic connector on it, it makes it bad. If you wake up and realize there's some good quality, I mean, there's some bad quality XLR mics out there too, right?
Amen. Yeah.
I mean, I can point you to some Amazon listings that are like, it's XLR podcast quality. And you're like, ooh, yes, I need to buy it. It's $25.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, you need to realize what you're spending money on. Just because it's XLR doesn't make it more versatile. And I think a lot of people sit there and go, well, I can upgrade the whole signal chain later. Sure, you could upgrade the signal chain later by buying a better interface, a cloud lifter, all these extra things, right? But if you start with a bad capsule, it doesn't get better afterwards, right? You can only do so much in EQ. You can only do so much in signal processing. And at the same time, do you really want to do all that extra work in post, or do you just want to start with a better capsule?
Right. And because if we're talking about live environments, there is no post. There's just everything is just getting uploaded.
Absolutely. Especially in the streamer world, where I see a lot of people, and here's the other big problem in the streamer world in terms of audio, especially for people starting out, who I'm saying, don't sleep on USB mics. USB mics have come a long way. I see a lot of people who go and spend $1,000 on the Joe Rogan setup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is something that you and I talked about earlier, about an hour ago, and that is the throwing of money away just because you can.
Yep.
Just because I can buy something extra doesn't mean I should. And I need to remember that Joe Rogan had a podcast for the last decade, and there's a reason why his setup looks like it does. The mic he chose is chosen by an engineer, not Joe. It was chosen for a reason. The signal chain behind that mic was selected because the thing behind that signal chain is this. And it needs to meet this, this, and this over here. There is a bigger picture at play, and the engineer for Joe Rogan's podcast thought of all that. It's all thought out in a broadcast sense. And people go and they just immediately buy that particular mic, and they go buy a setup that at the end of the day is $1,000 for audio, and they've got 4 viewers on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I stare at this going, this is a hobby that's losing you money. And I don't mean to say that like, oh, all hobbies shouldn't lose money. I understand some hobbies are going to lose a lot of money. I'm one of them. Where is it? I spend a ton of money on retro gaming hardware. This is never going to make me money, right? I understand that. But at the same time, I'm not going out there and buying the most expensive retro gaming hardware, because it doesn't really do that much better than the cheap stuff.
Than what you have, right?
The law of diminishing returns does come into play in electronics, right? The television that's $5,000 at CES because it rolls up into itself and it's like a millimeter thick doesn't really actually show a picture that's all that better than the $500 model at Walmart. At a certain point, 4K good panel looks good.
And it's also crazy about the different types of lighting. Like when you're talking about LED, OLED, plasma, like those have just as much of an impact on image than just the resolution of the panel itself.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at LED lighting, look at Aperture. They have the Amaran series of lights. It's 200 watts. It's great, but it doesn't have the same build quality as the 300D. Why does the 300D have metal build quality in DMX? Well, because the professionals needed it.
Yeah.
Why does the 200D not have it? It's only 100 watts difference, but the price difference is massive. Well, it's massive because of all the that last 10% that an industry working professional needs. The same thing with microphones. That last 10% is sometimes 10 times the cost.
Interesting. Okay.
So look at a microphone. Like what I'm currently using doesn't use close to $1,000 worth of audio. Does it sound like $1,000 worth of audio to you? Well, you probably never even bothered to think about it.
Right. Because you just think about what does it sound good? What does good mean? Good?
And here's the other problem I have with a lot of reviews, especially in terms of audio. Because I know this was in the pre-questionnaire, is like, what do people have that they get wrong? What do noobs get wrong, right? And this kind of goes back to that streamer beginners who are buying microphones. And that is, they often get tied up into the concept of A/B test. Does this one sound better than this one? You should then buy this one. And it's like, to a degree, that's right. But often it's presented as, this one sounds like this, and I've done no post-processing in EQ. And I've done this one, and this is what this one sounds like, no post-processing in EQ. As if like post-processing in EQ is unavailable to people.
I think it scares people. And
you know what I mean? Like a basic EQ is built into every single editing program out there.
Right. But again, for the people that are just doing live stuff, they're not like, I brought this up, I think earlier, maybe last week. Kick Tripod, who worked on the Go XLR, said over 50% of the people who agreed to share their diagnostic data with Go XLR left their mic settings completely default. Like they set their gain and then left everything else default. And it's like,
fair.
Holy shit, that was an insane statistic to hear. And
I find it interesting that GoX, that kind of information shocks me. Not that people don't change their settings. That actually doesn't shock me. I expect at least a little EQ only because it's what I've always done.
Sure.
My OBS settings are pretty insane.
Really? For for audio stuff? Okay.
Oh yeah. Though my video settings in OBS is like add a little sharpen.
Yeah.
Fudge it, right? Like add a little sharpen, it'll look great. It's a webcam after all. It probably needs a little sharpening. But my audio settings are in this order: noise suppression, because I want to fix; EQ, because I want to sweeten; noise gate, because I don't want it open if I'm not talking; then limiter. And I set my limiter to the -9 in OBS. And
that low.
Yeah. You think it's that low, and that's the funny thing is I think a lot of people are like, it's too low, and I'm like, OBS is really bad with audio clipping.
Yeah, because it's showing that
-6 is actually 0 dB in OBS.
Right.
So I'm like, if -6 is that, I'll give myself 3 dB of headroom in that limiter.
And if you're that loud.
Right. And as you can see, like I'm right on my microphone. I'm giving you pretty decent volume on my side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So imagine me hitting that limiter in OBS. I'm sounding normal.
Right. And you actually have a really good dynamic range. Like even when you're speaking softer, your levels are still really, really good. So I'm impressed.
So I can tell you this microphone's doing a little bit of
okay.
Yeah.
I so want to just like back you up into a corner and just ask you question after question, but I won't do that. I'll be a nice host, and I'll just say that I'm super excited to see what you guys coming out.
But yeah, I think the big thing is embrace a little bit of EQ, learn it. Parametric EQ and EQ in general, even if it's like a basic like 5-band EQ, where you're like ultra low, mid low, mid high, high, basic 3-band EQ can do so much wonders for you, because you may go, well, that microphone doesn't sound good with my voice. And it's like, what happens if you EQ it a little? And they're like, well, I've never done that.
Right.
Try it. Maybe that microphone does sound good to your voice with just a small little bump in the lows. Like me, my voice is very low. I actually do the exact opposite. I give myself a little bit of a 3 dB boost around 7K.
Okay.
In my EQ. And that brings out the clarity in my voice.
Right.
I'm missing a lot of that clarity. So a little bit of EQ can really go a long way with microphones. And you don't need to buy the $1,000 Joe Rogan setup. I mean,
man, if only people could see what his podcast looked like year one. Oh my God. It was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
Everyone sees the giant studio in Austin with 5 chairs, or they look at the Logan Paul setup now. Again, this all goes back to these people worked for a long time to get to where they are. If you are starting out, don't run, walk first, right?
Yep.
Every marathon starts with 1 foot. You don't get to the end of the marathon because you paid your way to get there. It's hard work to get there. And I understand that means sometimes buying gear that you do have to then resell later to recoup the value of the buy new gear. But it's better to do that than run right into debt for a hobby, right?
And one that has just like the highest fall off rate for people that get into it and then immediately get out.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the best videos I ever saw on YouTube was by Harris. Oh, I'm trying to remember his first name.
Yeah, no, Harris Heller. Yep.
Harris Heller, yes, yeah. I was thinking of the exact opposite in my head. I was like, that's not right. But his video was, you're not going to make it as a Twitch streamer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a clickbait title to eventually just tell you, hey, look, of all the people that play NFL football, how many people play high school football?
Oh, that's such a great way to put it too.
And I think that's the analogy he made, but he makes it on another scale of how many people are getting paid to be full-time Twitch streamers. It's like 0.5%.
Yep.
So it's probably even lower than that in all honesty, because that would mean every 1 in 200. But like, that's not the odds. Like, it's much worse than that.
And what's crazy, comparing it to football, like high school football consists of most people who want to play football, whereas with streamers, it's a lot of, I'm gaming. Well, I'm just gonna stream then.
Right. And I mean, and the people out there, they're like, I'm gonna become a Twitch streamer. I'm gonna be a full-time Twitch streamer. It's like, cool, but like, please have a backup plan.
Oh yeah,
Please
definitely.
realize that journey is like a 6-year journey. That is not going to happen in 150 days. Don't spend $1,000 today because you're going to recoup it because you're going to make all that Twitch money. And it's like, I want to sell you that $1,000 hardware. Trust me, I've got microphones I would love to sell you that are $350. I'll sell you a $250 audio interface box, and I will get you set up with all of it, and I will take your money. I would love your money. But please don't send your money.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I'd rather be much more honest with you and tell you to buy something that's maybe $150.
Sure.
Get started.
And that gets you so far nowadays too.
Gets you so far. And get started in the sense of do your first Twitch stream. Do it. Before you spend $1,000, do it for 5 months. You know what I mean?
And that's a considerable amount of time to like just get your feet wet within the industry. You're not even going to learn anything within those first 5 months. You're just going to be tripping over yourself left and right.
You know, learn OBS. There's so much you can do and unlock in OBS before you need to go out there and buy special programs or go buy that new graphics card to get RTX broadcast so you can do all these extra cool things. It's like, go buy the graphics card because your game stopped running, not because you want RTX broadcast, And I know this sounds like me just sounding like one of those old fuddy-duddies, like everything you have is just fine. But like, I understand there's things that aren't fine. Like I understand if your machine doesn't play or work well, or you're streaming at 720p and 720p 30 at 3 megabits per second.
Yeah.
I totally get it. You may want to get an upgraded system. You need to still visually attract your audience to click on your thumbnail. Mm-hmm. You still need a camera that looks decent. I totally get that.
Yep.
But realize that there's other ways to go get that sometimes are easier, cheaper. Ask around. Like I'm using a webcam built into my MacBook. It's not the gorgeous thing, but I've also got lights set up.
Are you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I never would. It looks like a C920. I never would have guessed.
Now, this is a MacBook 2015. This is the old potato Apple camera.
That was still around until like 2021. What are you
Literally,
using?
They just got rid of it. Yeah.
So are you using OBS virtual camera to do the chroma?
No.
What are you using?
Zoom.
Wait, that's Zoom's chroma?
Yeah.
I am so fucking blown away right now. MacBook using Zoom's built-in chroma features. I got nothing. I have absolutely nothing.
I'm using a USB mic.
Right.
And I'm lighting myself. That right there. This camera is not ass. Most people just use this camera based on overhead lighting that's like 10 feet above them that's casting downward shadows. So the camera is having to compensate for all the shadows across your face. So it's boosting the ISO. I'm blasting myself in the face right now with a bunch of light, looking at the little green dot on my MacBook. That's it.
That's insane. And the other thing with laptop webcams is you're always getting this angle of just shooting right up at the chins.
Yeah, and I mean, I've lifted my laptop up off my table. I've got a rising standing desk, so I lifted the desk a little bit to compensate, and that's about it. I mean, a good setup doesn't have to be throw money at the problem. Sometimes creativity and classical training can fix the problem. Like, did you light your subject? It's a show, right? Think about your Twitch stream as a show. You would light a sitcom. You would light a talk show.
Right.
Light your Twitch stream.
Man, you just threw a random thought into my mind. What it would be like to have to figure out how to light the set of Friends. Like how to build a set and then light it so it looks like you're in a house, but also was enough light to light your subjects. And that has got to be a massive pain in the ass.
It's a skill. It is a skill that gaffers and DPs get paid lots of money because they learn it. And that's the kind of stuff that that network TV kind of still does very well. They still hire the top brains in their industry to produce that kind of content.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know why I've never thought of that before. All my time in broadcasting and lighting and audio, and I've never thought about what that process would be like. And probably the not a lot of trial and error if you're a professional at it, but learning how to compensate for all of those different factors it's got to be crazy insane.
Yeah.
I have so many more questions to ask. We are just on the cusp of the 2-hour mark. And I think I did see a couple questions that popped in.
Pop in.
Okay, we got one question. Question for Andrew. Have you met Ryan from Rode, and are you guys friends? Also, what do you think about a modular shotgun with interchangeable interface tubes and mic capsules?
I have actually never met Ryan from Rode. I've seen his videos. Actually, I was just watching one the other day with the new Rode, the new firmware update, and it has Julian in it. And I was like, but weren't you Jules? Like, what happened? What's the name change? I miss Jules. But now it's Julian, I guess. I don't know. I've never met anyone from Rode. And it's not like a competition thing. It's like, I would never. No, it's I think that we both do things very differently at the end of the day. When you look at the way their products work, our products work, the way you interact with them are just different. And it's not a different, like, we're better. It's more of a, if you don't like that because your brain doesn't dig what it does and you want to try something just as an alternative, we exist. Try something different. And that's what's great about competition is it brings about similar results through different methods. And we're just a different method.
Right. And also there's a lot to be said about relatability with a brand. Just on like a personality level, or I don't want to say a moral level, but just vibes. There's just companies that you vibe with how they are on social media, how they treat people, their personnel.
Moments like that. The guys from Moment are some of the coolest people in the world. Yep. I don't shoot on iPhones. I don't even own an iPhone. I totally want to go hang out with the guys at Moment.
Yep.
Oh, man. No, one of the questions you asked earlier in the pre-questionnaire to me was, what is a product that I'm looking forward to?
Yeah.
And I put a lot of thought into this. And asking this question about Rode, Ryan from Rode and everything has me kind of a good answer for that.
Okay.
And that is this. I love Elgato. Elgato makes some great products. I would love to see someone challenge Elgato. Not because I want someone to beat Elgato. I want someone to go against Elgato so that Elgato has a competitor that they have to beat.
Sure.
That the next tier Go XLR is that much cooler, right? And that the new Stream Deck does X, Y, and Z. And you didn't even know you wanted X, Y, and Z, but they did it because there's a new Stream Deck from this other company that kind of has something similar, and Elgato wanted to come out with something even better.
Right.
That's what I want.
It is crazy that when it comes to a macro-enabled device for streaming, there is no competitor to the Stream Deck. There are other options.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
And nobody's developing for other products like they are for the Stream Deck.
AVR Media just came out with something that's kind of like a Stream Deck Go XLR combo, and I'm all for it. I don't care the fact that it came from AVR Media, which is, kind of a dual kind of a brand.
Right.
I'm glad that there's someone going to Elgato saying, we can do this. And Elgato, what do you got? And I want to see what Elgato got because I like some of their products. I've got 5 Elgato capture cards in my OBS setup. I'm excited for Elgato. I like their product. So I want to see a competitor to Elgato because I think everyone wins. Even Elgato.
Absolutely. I actually, just before we went live with the podcast, they are now tweeting out teasers of the newest product that's coming out. The first teaser was let's see here. First teaser was Fucking
I'm gonna look it up now.
Oh my god, what is his name? From the newest Star Wars, he's the main bad guy. Kylo Ren, just screaming more, which who knows? The second hint looks like a waveform or an EQ of some sort.
Is it weird I just discovered that Elgato is German?
I don't think I knew that either.
Right? Like I just looked at it on their Twitter. I just pulled up their Twitter and I'm like, oh, Munich, Germany.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Does anyone else know that they're from Munich? I had no idea.
Interesting.
I would have totally thought that like Elgato was from like Florida or like, you know what I mean? Like they're Miami. Like
right.
I would totally see Elgato being a Miami company. I had no idea.
Hint number 3 is a screenshot of it saying initializing video engine. Hint number 4 is a deletion of a mounting mechanism holding up a key light. And then tip number 5 or hint number 5 looks like a proprietary. It looks like a proprietary connector, but it's probably USB-C. It looks awfully square.
Hold on. So they're deleting the stand off the desk in this hint.
Yeah.
Are they doing wall mounts? I think it's a wall mount.
I'm leaning towards either a capture device, like a video capture device, and not like a capture card, but like a camera. Why would they tweet out waveforms? Because it looks like an EQ, but I don't know for sure.
Which hint are you seeing in EQ?
Hint number 2.
Where is that? I don't see this.
I got you. I'll shoot you a DM. All right, there you go. It's in your DMs.
Doing the show live, everyone. Everyone's like, why don't we just talk about and answer those? They said they were going to answer questions. I don't.
Look, you had to answer. You had to submit the questions during the show. Okay, punks.
Okay, initialize video engine. And it's got a progress bar. It's all white and a little bit of black. Okay. I do. You're right. That is not. That is a waveform. That's a spectral analysis of a waveform with a low cut filter engaged.
So now I'm thrown off so much because
I get hint number 1. There's more than one product.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I missed that the first time.
There's more than one product. So it looks like, and then the last hint of the day, and it's a right angle USB-C cable, but it's cropped funny. And
it almost looks like I'm picturing a shock mount of that. It's just like it being cut off right where the shock mount is for a microphone.
Maybe.
Interesting.
Are they saying a Wave 5 is coming? Or maybe it's a Wave 5.
Ooh, I wonder if they're going after a dynamic USB microphone.
Maybe.
And some other stuff. Or software. I don't know if they're doing EQ software for...
I was going to say, I bet, because it says video engine, initializing video engine, and then the hint number 2 is a EQ. I wonder if it's like an RTX broadcast kind of deal where it takes your webcam, cleans up the signal, does all that fancy stuff via your CPU instead of your GPU.
Okay.
And I wonder if they're adding microphone software to that engine as like a one-stop shop and like an update to what do they call their software?
Wavelength.
I wonder if it's a firmware update or a software update to Wavelength, and they're adding video to it. Hit number 4 definitely looks like a wall mount. We're getting rid of the stand. We're going to a wall mount to hold your Elgato key light, I think is what they call it.
Makes sense. Yeah, that would be if they added system-wide, like if they added something into the software where you could have system-wide EQ, noise suppression, noise gate, expander, all that stuff, that would be so fucking huge for the Elgato Wave.
Software. Does it have any EQ?
No, it's strictly like a mixer.
So what they're showcasing in this GIF is not a microphone, I feel like. It's EQ. It's firmware update. Because I know Rode just did their firmware update this last week with their stuff. And then everything from Zoom is hardware-based. So they do firmware on the hardware side. They don't do any software to Zoom.
Right, okay. Interesting.
But yeah, that's kind of what it looks like to me. And this last one, I don't know, maybe a webcam. I mean, they make enough capture cards, right?
Well, why not, right? I'm
Why
really
is
surprised.
there an Elgato webcam?
Yeah. They must have been when they announce it, I need them to say, we've been developing this for 8 years and it's been the hardest thing that we've ever done. Then I'll give them the pass. Like, okay, fine. I'm willing. If you've been working on it that long, if it's been a tough road, I'll take what I can get now.
So yeah, I think a competitor to the Elgato would be really cool. Mm-hmm. That's a product I would look forward to.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, hey man, before we close this up, take this time to. Yeah, so any more questions in chat? I saw one from Pericle. Are you brave enough to install the dev branch of Windows 11 on your main rig? When I was looking up your socials, I saw you compare Windows 11 to, was it a GNOME version of Linux? Was it GNOME 3?
Yeah, it's uglier than GNOME 3.
You really thought it was ugly?
Yes. Oh my God, Windows 11 is so ugly.
Oh damn! So I thought ugly. It could look kind of nice.
No. Do you have a Mac?
I do.
Then there's better options. Like,
I do.
Big Sur is gorgeous, and I'm excited about the rest of what's coming with some of those new M1 updates and what we're going to be able to see with iPad integration, iPad OS app integration. And like, I find it funny that like Windows 11 is like, we now have Android apps, and I'm like, Android barely has Android apps.
And the ones that they do have,
don't get me wrong, I'm an Android lover. I've got a $1,300 Android device. I've spent more on Android than most people probably have. I've got a Kindle. Like, I've actually got Android tablets.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's how much I like the Android platform and how much I avoid iOS and iPad OS. So like, I've done that whole Android tablet life.
Yeah. But you love Mac OS.
There's not an Android tablet life. I mean, outside of Kindle, name one other model, right? There's not. Whereas I'm excited about integrating iPad OS apps with Mac OS. I'm Mac OS at the end of the day. And iPad OS apps are going to integrate so beautifully with the ecosystem and the integration and the notification system that they're doing. Whereas I look at it, how they are integrated over with Windows, and it still feels very much like an afterthought. Like it was a bonus item.
Yeah, because where's the relationship beforehand with all of that?
Like they canceled the Microsoft phone, I think. Mm-hmm. The dual screen phone that was supposed to be Android with a Microsoft Flare on top of it.
Yep.
And some Samsung devices can integrate with Windows a little bit better than others. But again, that's Samsung phones. That's not your Pixel 5. And then Chrome OS is got some interesting integration with Windows, but it's very much on the business enterprise side.
Yep.
You can run it through parallel, but your average Chrome OS user who is a child in elementary school doesn't have access to any of this. So what do they care?
Right.
So I don't know who is using Windows 11 and said, you know what I really wish? I wish we had like native Instagram support. Like
right. Because any normal person is just booting that up in the web browser instead. Like it's not any different of an experience.
Like what app in Android works better in Android than it would just natively in Windows?
Amen. But hey, maybe they'll prove us wrong. I'll hold my breath.
Like you know what I mean? Like what in world was this weird integration of secondhand thought? Like at least when they integrated Android with Chrome OS, it was like Chrome OS finally had offline apps you could run.
A purpose at the end of the day.
Purpose for it.
Yep.
What could I not do in Windows 11? Like
right, that has now been opened up by the integration of the Android App Store.
Right. And even then, the Android App Store, comma, we mean the Kindle store.
Amen. Amen. They had those
you couldn't even get Google, you can't get Google Play, but you can get the Amazon App Store on Windows 11. Like It's like the big K Cola version of Windows of Android apps.
Like RC Cola.
Yeah, it's the RC Cola of Android that they're getting integrated with, and they're getting the ugliest update possible. And I'd still rather take GNOME 3 Ubuntu kind of versions out there of Linux, because at the end of the day, at least that's gorgeous. There's so many different skins for my Linux on my Pi 4, and yet the best skin I can get is this one for Windows. I kind of miss Windows skin. That was a thing in Vista, right?
Yeah.
Themes, yep. I think is what they called them.
Yeah.
And they fell off. Died. Yeah.
Yep.
And now they're like, we brought back widgets. Widgets are amazing. They're new. And I'm like, I had widgets in macOS Tiger.
Yeah, I don't get the widget thing.
I totally do. I do. I love widgets.
Really?
One of my biggest things that I hate, and because I jumped on macOS back in Tiger, and that is you hit the widget button, which my computer still has it because it's so old. You hit the widget button and a calculator pops down. And I don't have to do the dumb thing, which is go to my folder and find my calculator app and pull up a calculator.
Fair. You don't use like Spotlight search to pull it up?
Again, one button calculator.
That's fair. Yeah.
And that was the gorgeous thing of old widgets, and macOS got rid of it.
Yep.
Now they're bringing it to iPad OS. They're like, we invented this thing called widgets. And I'm like, no, you stole them from your old developers who've all left Apple and gone off to do better things. There was a Linux operating system I loved that operated around the concept of widgets. It has since died. It was called Good OS, and you could get it to run on x86 computers. So your older hardware, you would install it on, it would be like lightning fast. And it's a Linux version called Good OS, sometimes called GOS, and it was called GOS Gadgets. And this was what Chrome OS is starting to finally become. And this was it like a decade ago.
GOS.
You just looked it up, right? You just found it?
It looks a lot like Mac OS. Wow.
It looks like Mac OS now.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And it was, and I was using GOS like a decade ago, and I loved GOS. And it ran on the Google Cloud system. The whole idea was you had localized widgets, you had your Google Docs, Google Sheets, all that kind of stuff integrated into GOS, and it was Chrome OS before they allowed it to become what it is today. Way back then. So it was essentially, and the kind of the joke around the Good OS community was it's Google OS.
And then now we've come full circle.
And now we've come full circle, and everyone's like, we invented this new thing called widgets and a notifications tab. And I'm like, you did what Linux did a decade ago.
Yeah.
Good job.
And yeah, same thing with notifications. I'm just not big on like the notification tab on Mac OS still. I never use it.
Oh no, I love it now. And the reason why is there are some apps that I don't want to get notifications from at all. And there's some apps I want to make sure I never miss a notification from. And before, there was no way to control it on a app-by-app basis.
Right.
There was global notifications, and there's global sound profiles, and either your speaker's at full or nothing. And yet my Android phone had all these extra controls. And they did it on your phone because it's something in your personal pocket. You always have it with you. And it needed that control because it was an extension of you.
iOS has always lacked in the notification configuration and like customization. Like the fact that I still can't choose a specific notification based on the app, it drives me fucking insane. Like I want to
wait. You mean you don't get individual notifications from an app?
You do, but you can't set a custom sound or like a certain vibrate for a particular notification. Like if I want Facebook, like the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram notifications, they all make the default iPhone noise. Ding! Yeah, drives me fucking insane.
Oh, how ghetto.
Very. Yeah.
I just found out this like a couple of weeks ago. I was watching the WAN show on a drive home on a Friday night, and Linus is ranting about how iOS users don't even know what T9 dialing is.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
What do you mean? They don't have T9? And apparently, yeah, iPhone doesn't have T9 dialing, and which is like 100% how I still dial my phone because it's faster. And I had some interns yesterday, and I'm showing them, like, they're bragging about their new iPhone, and I'm like, okay, do T9 dialing for me. And they're like, what's that? I don't have a flip phone. And I'm like, no.
These kids don't know.
I'm like, type in 323. And they're like, why would I type that in? That isn't, I don't know that area code. And I'm like, no, that's dad.
Yeah.
Boom. That's dad.
These kids don't even know, man. They don't know what they're missing. Yeah, I remember I had a Droid X that had an RGB LED on the front of it that you could set color-coded notifications. Why is that not standard for every fucking cell phone out there?
Why did that go away?
Yeah, biggest mistake.
Because you could lay your phone down so your screen was facing up so it's not getting scratched. And oh, look, the only thing blinking at me is a tiny little LED and it's purple. So I know I've got a tweet. Oh, no, it's green. That means someone posted a new video up on YouTube and I got a notification.
Yep.
That's it. Like, how much did I really need? I don't need anything more than that. And now they're like, we're going to put a screen on the back of your phone so you get notifications. And I'm like, was a blinking LED not available?
Just please give me that back. I would be so happy to have that back.
Right? Like, that was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, dude. Well, hey, we are good to wrap this up. I appreciate you giving me so much of your time and encouraging such fantastic conversation. I had an absolute blast you being here. Please take this opportunity before we close it up. Sell yourself out. Sell the company out. You know, if there's anything that you want to pitch, anything you want to announce coming up, the floor is yours.
New water bottles at lttstore.com. Is that not how we do this?
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, Deity Microphones. It's spelled with a D, and then an E and an I, and T. Why? Not diet E, which, funny enough, we get spelled a lot all the time. I just take it as people think I need to go on a diet. So
I've mistyped it maybe a few times.
So Deity Microphones, we make stuff. They're good. We don't suck. Yeah, we don't suck.
Toilet. Kayla in chats. Custom toilet paper when from Deity.
Huge joke about that. I will call one of those Etsy people and see if we can do a bulk order. Put my logo right there on the toilet paper.
Is there any content that is coming up, or is there any like the YouTube channel as far as like any live broadcasts that are coming up that you can shout out?
Yeah, so the live stuff we kind of still do once a month on Instagram. Every now and then I'll do it on TikTok because the algorithm likes it when I post the video and then I go live for like 15 minutes, whatever, right? I get that double notification. I hit your phone twice.
There you go.
But no, if you haven't noticed, our YouTube channel has been down. Not down in the sense of like it's deleted, but like we just haven't made stuff for it in the way that we used to. Sound 101, the show, the concept, has been off the air for about 2 months.
Okay.
It's because we lost our producer. We just hired a brand new producer for the show. We're going to be talking about that stuff next week and shooting new stuff hopefully by the end of the month. And the hope is to come back by the end of the month, early August, possibly at the latest, with a brand new show, brand new concept for YouTube that is kind of the dream. Our new producer is super eager to try some really very ambitious productions.
Okay.
So we're going to be bringing back the YouTube channel, the YouTube show, hopefully back in about a month.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, dude, again, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you coming by to be able to sit down with people from companies like Deity and be able to just have conversation about things in the industry, being able to ask personal and selfish questions. And sitting here is definitely a privilege, and I'm very, very grateful for it. So thank you for being here and giving us your time.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, man. You're welcome back anytime. All right, chat. Thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast. This will be up on YouTube and the good old Spotify's in a few days. Andrew, I'm going to close up the show here, so I will end the Zoom call, and I'll catch you later, man.
I'm supposed to do the awkward peace sign, right? Like I need to leave. Like,
yeah.
okay.
See ya. Deuce.
Code. It's my code word. I gotta go.
Awesome, man. You have a good night.
Later, man.
See ya.